Okay, so now it's February 3rd of 2024. I'm not sure where I'm going to put this, but besides that point. Okay, so I got 36 cans of sockeye salmon. Some of them clover leaf, some of them gold seal. I'm leaning more towards clover leaf because they list the extra ingredients. Does it make a difference? Probably not. Sockeye salmon is sockeye salmon is sockeye salmon. Unless, of course, this has maybe more bones or something in it. Anyway, so we're just going to talk briefly here about what I bought, which is not very much for $47.89 with $5.99 delivery free and another 72 cents in tax. Okay, but when I say I don't need this, I'm kind of getting to that point, right? Now, this came from Canadian Superstore. So, for the longest time I was trying to buy this sockeye from Walmart, but they didn't have it. So they kept canceling that. So I ended up buying it from Canadian Superstore. I did a back-to-back shop. So in other words, I bought some more stuff. And I got a $40 discount off of my bill. So my bill was $67. And because I had bought the salmon prior with the Optimum points, I was able to deduct $40 off my bill. So my bill only came in at, what was it? $29. So that's where it made sense to buy in bulk right away. Right? And then I bought 5 from Walmart, hoping I would get 5, because if I put multiples of 10, they tell me they don't have them. But maybe they have them now. So anyway, I bought 5 because I'm working on filling up a box, right? But I don't know how many I need to fill up the box, because we're going to do like the sardines. We're going to fill up the box, I'm going to tape it, pack it away, and just let it sit for a year or two or whatever it is. And then get into these old sockeye salmon cans that I've got kicking around here first before I get into those ones, right? Kind of like those sardines. When I pulled them out from underneath the cupboard, we had, what, 36 cans of sardines in a big Ziploc bag, right? Okay, so I still have to replenish that, but that's another day. So in the meantime, because I was shy one out of a box of 36 cans, I'm not going to pack that away like that. No, I want it full, right? So I went back, and now they got them on sale for $4.99, but you only allowed a maximum of 2. So I bought the 2 because I had already bought 5 from Walmart, and they actually came through at $4.99, where at Canadian Superstore it's at $5.99. But I already got my $40 rebate, so it kind of worked itself out, right? And I've got my 1 can that I need to fill up my box and put my box away with an extra can only because it was on sale. So I got 2 cans of salmon. We know what I'm going to do with it. This is all for what? We'll just say $48, including delivery. $6 delivery, so $41. Now, normally I like to buy garlic, American garlic, that has at the bottom of the garlic roots. Because when you buy them like this, they've basically been bleached, and they basically come from China. Where if you can find them with roots, then that means they came from the United States, and they're not bleached. And they will actually sprout, by the way. they don't necessarily grow very well. So I've done that, tried to plant them in the, but whatever. The point is they're not bleached. But right now, they were on sale, 60 cents each, so whatever. It's convenient right now. I'm not going to worry about it. It's not something that I normally buy, but that's okay. I got one cabbage because I am going to make an Asian salad. Andre, I hear you mumbling. With shredded cabbage, shredded carrots, and then a soy sauce, sesame seed oil, whatever, with vinegar, sugar, dressing. So I got nice fresh cabbage. I got old cabbage, but I want fresh. So I got one. Okay? And then, because there's really not much more that I need to buy other than fresh vegetables from time to time. I still got carrots in the fridge. I have the parsleys, right? This is just from Canadian Superstore, right? So I got the one cabbage, got the 2 garlics, 2 cans of salmon, and then, because you know I'm going to be making noodles with our own broths, with our powdered mitsu. And I'll probably, at some point, well, I know I will, it won't be probably, as long as I can see people, I will be making tofu, whether with soya beans, because I have organic soya beans in the house, or with other beans, right? And I will incorporate that into the staple, quote unquote. Because don't forget, I have also a food mill, right? All right, whatever. So, whenever I see soy sauce on sale, currently, I pick it up. So I got 4 of these. Okay. It's not very big, 500 ml. Now, I do have other soy sauces in the house, but because you're looking at a 1/4 cup just to make the Asian dressing with the sesame seed oil, the vinegar, the sugar, a little bit of salt, and then I'm going to put in a few actual sesame seeds in with it, and then you make it. But that recipe's calling, I think, for like a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. So it can go pretty fast, right? Especially with Andre. He's always using it. So I got 4 bottles of that. What did they come in at? They were on sale. The 2 cans of salmon was $10 on sale. And then the premium soya sauce was 4 at $3.29 regular price, and I got it at $2.88. What I liked about it is it's in a bottle, glass, which helps to preserve it. Okay. And then, now I already did this because I had previously shopped at Canadian Superstore because I went off and bought more salmon to fill up this box that holds the cans pretty good, and I just took some cardboard and ran it in between the, right? So they don't move around. Because sometimes when you're doing this stuff, it's hard to find a box that fits everything nicely, right? So, I just wanted to get it over with, right? So, with that order, and I like to look on their weekly specials too, right? So with that order, I ordered 4 of these, which was the better deal. What can I see? Nothing. Here we go. Right? Okay. On sale. Under their flyer. I have a few other around the house, but again, once this stuff is all done and put away, we're going to get into the noodle making, and if we like this Asian salad dressing with the cabbage and the carrots, then we'll be eating it more often. But for now, I thought, okay, because it will sit for a couple, 2-3 years or more, depending on where you put it, as long as it's not opened, right? And then they were on sale for, let's see, regular price was $6.49, which is reasonable. If not, it's 370 mils, which is a good size. And I wouldn't say that $6.49 is reasonable, but the stuff is getting expensive. So when they were selling it for $3.88, I'm like, $3.88, you're saving yourself $2.60 per bottle. So the first shop I did with Canadian Superstore to top off the salmon, I bought 4 of these. And then because I was shy on one can, I went back and I bought 4 more. So I got 8 of these now, not including what I have around the house. Right? To which, the only reason I would buy it again at this point would be, 1, it's a good deal. 2, because I'd make another order, but I don't, I'm kind of like maxed out. So it's not like, I could squeeze in 4 more bottles and a couple of other extra things, and maybe another $50 but whatever. So for $49, this is what I got. But you see, it doesn't really bother me, because I don't have to worry about other things. And that's what you want to work towards if you haven't gotten there yet. Right? In terms of quote-unquote food prepping. Am I missing anything? Let's just go over this one more time. So, for the sesame seed oil, 4 bottles, I paid $15.52. For the sockeye salmon, which is more for comfort food, right? We know why. And of course nutrition, but I'm leaning maybe more towards the comfort food, although the nutrition, it makes me feel good too, right? So 2 cans of salmon at $9.98, and that was on sale. And then we've got the premium soy sauce for $11.52. We've got the 2 little garlics for $1.36. And we've got the 1 cabbage for $2.80. And then delivery was $5.99. And then we've got the 72 cents in tax. Don't ask me what they taxed me on. Like, I thought food was not taxable. Oh, probably for the delivery. Yeah, they probably, $5.99. They taxed me on the delivery. Go figure. So, for $48, that's what I got. Right there. You see that? Now, that's not a lot. Really, when you think about it. Considering everything else that you have to buy to run a quote-unquote functioning kitchen, right? The diversity of food choices, right? But that's where I'm at, kind of, with things, right? And because now, I have more time on my hands, well, it's coming soon, right? in terms of I'm not filling up jars, I'm not filling up buckets and Mylar bags, and I'm not vacuum sealing, and I'm not canning, and I'm not saying I'm not going to do those things, because obviously I have to go downstairs and rebag up freaking buckets of wheat and stuff like that that aren't in Mylar bags, because initially when I first started doing that part of the food prep, I was buying in buckets, but they weren't coming in with Mylar bags, because I know that for a fact. When I get downstairs and I get into that part of it, I'll show you, right? Whereas when I was buying just the big bags of wheat and started buying the 5-gallon buckets with the Mylar lids, with the Gamma lids and the Mylar bags and the auction absorbers, because, I took it to the next level. Not that I could ever be a hardcore prepper, but I feel comfortable enough at this point to, instead of worry about not having enough flour, let's just put it this way, I'm really excited when I can start grinding this stuff up and using the flour in its original state that I have. All right. So, now, I'm so tired though, you don't even know. And every day, people, I think about my eyes. Now, I have to work in the yard this year. I just have to. My landlady came for her rent. I reminded her that it was a $200 increase in rent in the last 8 months. I said, I know you're sharp as a whip, whippersnapper, right? But just so that you and I are on the same page, it's been 8 months and, you got a $200 increase in rent, and just, keep that in mind. In other words, I can't keep paying, because she seems to think, because this is bought on either overdraft, credit cards, like, come on, people, right? Wait until I do my total debt load. But I don't need to buy, unless, of course, I just want to do it one more time, because I know that once we get into the noodles and stuff, and I know we're gonna like the Asian. I like sesame seed oil, right? So, I'm like, how can I squeeze in 4 more bottles at that price? Because that's a fair amount for the price that you're paying, right? In today's terms. But I'm running on max. That's the problem. So anyway, so I gave her the rent, and, I told her that the stove that she got, I guess the glass fell out of it. Right, because it's a used stove. I told her my son said he fixed it, but again, he's not a stove technician, so technically it's not necessarily safe. She agreed, so she's going to have this guy come and deal with that issue, whatever the issue is, because God forbid 2 years go by or a year goes by and freaking glass falls out after the oven's been on for 2 hours on 400 degrees or 375 degrees, and it shatters. I mean, that just wouldn't be cool, right? And then I told her, and she asked me about, like, she said, well, you owe me money. Now, just keep in mind, I just gave her an extra $100 on rent, and it wasn't even 8 months ago before I did that, right? It was on the 8-month mark, right? She asked me in April. I started giving her $100 more in May, and then she hit me up in January, and I started giving her another $100 in February. And technically, the rent itself probably shouldn't have gone up no more than $60 per cycle at government's rate. That's basically locked in right now. So, is she cocky, right? Yeah. So anyway. And then she goes, well, you owe me money. I said, I owe you money? For what? She goes, the fridge. I said, the fridge? Okay, well, I said, you do realize what this guy did, right? Because I said, well, how much? She says, $150. I said, $150? I said, you gotta be kidding me. First of all, I phoned up on the phone. I spoke to a Punjabi man that told me to unplug my fridge, right? Empty it out, unplug it, let it sit for 24 hours. See if that works, and if not, then call him back. Okay. I told my landlady what was going on. She said, oh, don't worry, we'll have my guy look at it, blah, blah, blah. So he came, okay, so I almost had it empty. I was almost ready to turn it off, right? You watching my videos, right? But he showed up. He opened up the thing. He took off the back. I don't know what he did. He ripped off a big chunk of ice, the one that would have melted if I would have unplugged it. Ripped off the freaking knob, right? Like the freezer knob to control the temperature in the freezer. He ripped it off and then put everything back and told me to keep the fridge on cold, and if anything should happen, to call him, call him back, right? Okay, so I wait for my landlady, and then she said, well, you owe me $150. I said, $150 for that? No, because I don't even know if this fridge is leaking now. Like, from the top part onto my, on your fridge when you have, right? It's always wet. I don't know where it's coming from. I haven't quite figured it out yet. Because if it's leaking onto my shelving inside my fridge, no, that's no good. I can't deal with that shit. No boo-boo way. There's no way. And that's hard enough for me to see as it is. I don't need to be going in there moving everything around every 2 days, wiping up freaking water. So I don't know what it is yet. I haven't quite determined whether it's leaking, although it sure seems to be. And if it is, where's it leaking from? I haven't figured it out yet. So I told her that. And I said, for the amount of time that he spent and what he did, it wasn't worth $150. Like, well, I said, well, you do realize he also serviced because it was $150 for the call, right? I said, you do realize he serviced the furnace though, right? And he looked at the stove, right? She goes, and she knew, right? But she goes, oh no. I said, yeah, he serviced the furnace because, I'm having little issues with the furnace. He cleaned it, he did something there, and it seems to be working pretty good now. No complaints. The guy is an honest guy, honestly, really. He's a good guy, right? He's like, I don't know what he is. I don't know if he's Punjabi or something along those lines. I just know he's, of a different ethnic heritage with a heavy accent. But he's quick, he's smart, he's proficient, and he's not looking to make a buck, quote unquote, per se. Right? Because he could have easily said, oh, well, like the last guy that came and did what he did, changed this, it cost me like $350. Where this guy just, gave me a chunk of ice, ripped off the knob, and blah, 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 right? And so in total, he charged $150 for the call to do my fridge, service my landlady's furnace, look at the stove, confirm that it was something wrong with it. But she wanted me to pay for the whole thing. And I told her no. And she goes, well, then, $75. Give me $75. But I was on the phone on hold. Then the person came, and Andre came and got me. So I just came in here, and she waiting for me, right? Because I told her it was an important phone call. And I gave Andre $70. And he went, and then when I came and I spoke to her, and then she goaded me. I mean, she was, right? Because I reminded her that her furnace was serviced. I did say I'd pay, right? But $75 for what he did, I suppose, is okay, assuming that the fridge doesn't leak. I haven't figured it out yet, though. And then, when it's time to get ready to go, she goads me. All right? She reminds me that the guy over there, the Punjabi over there that owns that house, I think it's a Punjabi on that side, only he's a real mean one, that owns that house. I guess to this day, people are still bugging her to kick me out, literally, so that they can rent it for over $3,500 a month. Like, they'll give her $3,500 a month, and they'll take full responsibility for the house, being that she's not selling. And they've been doing this shit for years. And I believe it, because that's how ruthless they are out here. Right? You know, and then because she's reminding me, right, that she allows me to stay. And that just by dealing with the guy next door there, or the guy next door over there, it's a guaranteed $3,500 a month. No stress, right? Just they'll hand the cash and they'll deal with everything. Yeah, this one over here will cut down all the fucking trees, literally. And what they do is they break up the houses. Like this house next door, they have the main floor upstairs, 3-bedroom, right, with a immigrant couple that came in and moved in and probably rent a room out. And then in the basement, it used to be a grow-up when I moved in, people, I can guarantee you that. But after they sold the house to the guy that owns it now, the guy that owns it turned around and took the basement and broke it up into 3 little teeny weeny suites and is charging maximum dollar per suite. And we're talking about a room. That's considered a suite. Another part has a room and a little bit of a kitchen. And then another one is basically just a room. And they're all strangers that live together in the basement that used to be a bloody grow-op. Go figure. And they're charging full maximum amount. Where that guy next door, he taps in with the city and gets the city to bring in the immigrants because they're all situated with their subsidies, provincial, municipal, and federal, whatever those subsidies are, right? And they put in 2 parents with 5 kids in a 2-bedroom upper floor old bungalow with the square footage of a small rancher. And they're charging over $2,200 a month the last time I heard for that. While in the basement, they basically stuff in a bunch of Punjabi men to the maximum numbers. And because they don't mind congregating, you can get anywhere between 3 to, in a small teeny weeny basement, 5 or 6 of them, depending on the need, I suppose. And they're all paying rent to some degree or another. While these landlords are getting rich, literally rich, as they're plotting and scheming to have my family thrown out if we're not dying in the house through murder, as the cops cover it up for the end goal of illegal organ harvesting, to which only certain kind of people can afford to pay for that type of product, as the money is being funneled back into the housing market to buy more properties, tear them down, kick out more people, to build ugly stack and pack buildings with shoddy workmanship, shoddy materials, because they're nothing like they used to be, let's face it. Hell, they don't even use copper pipes anymore. When the guy that came to change underneath, to fix something underneath my sink that my landlady had, because the soldering came out at the bottom, and he came and he cut off a part of my copper pipe. It was the hot water copper pipe, because he was too lazy to solder the pipe and fix it correctly. Then he tried to convince me that that was the better pipe, a PVC pipe, and that's what they're building all these buildings with, and that's what these plumbers now use, and that it's better than copper, where I'm trying to say, no, I don't think so, because first of all, copper has a natural antibacterial property that when the water is sitting in the pipes, it, you know, I mean, think about it. If you've got a 50-year-old copper pipe, sure, it might get tarnished, but at the end of the day, it's still a metal that is kind of antibacterial, right? Whereas if you've got some plastic PCV pipe sitting underneath wherever your house or in the walls or whatever for 50 years that are just basically clamped on with steel clamps that sometimes spring, I know that for a fact. I wouldn't want to drink the water coming out of those pipes. So anyway, when we had the snow, guess what that pipe did? That PVC pipe that was supposed to be better than the copper pipe. It froze. And it was a hot water pipe. Go figure. And this is what they're putting into all these buildings. Okay. And it was interesting that he ran off with the copper pipe. He tried to be nonchalant about it, but he carrying it. And I'm like, yeah, you little bugger. I know exactly what you're going to do with that copper pipe. You're going to build it into something that you want so that you have it, and it didn't cost you anything to buy it, as you're, like, you know, feeding me the old okie dokie. I'm just saying. So, I don't even know where that came from. Anyway, I just told my landlady, you know, just, I don't want to worry about fucking rent and all that shit. I told her I have lots of food in the house. The rent is covered. You're okay with what we gave you now? Right, you know? Okay, you want another $75? I didn't have a 5, but I gave you 70 for something that might force me to buy another fridge yet, people, if I can't get it fixed properly. And that's assuming that it is leaking, to which I'm leaning more towards it now, because he could have just said, look, I can see that you're empty. Let it unthaw, and then let's take it from there. But he didn't. He went in there and gave me a chunk of ice and ripped off the knob and told me to keep it on cold. But if I have it too cold, it's freezing my stuff in there. If I don't have it cold enough, water's coming from someplace. And I haven't figured out where it's coming from. And the last thing I want to do is buy another fridge. And I get nervous with used fridges. Bad enough it's a used stove, but used fridges, it makes me nervous. The one in Auntie Chemay's room works pretty good, and I haven't had any problems with it. But it wasn't like anything that I was going to use every day in the kitchen, you know, that kind of thing. So, all right. So there you go, $49. You don't get much for your money. But for what I did get, considering all things said, I mean, like, I should do it one more time, so I don't have to worry about some soy sauce for, oh, at least a couple of years. Because Andre goes through it pretty fast. Okay, so I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Oh yeah, my eyes. So, I have to work in the yard. I'm going to end it on this. And then I'll come back with whatever. Oh yeah, I bought some of those summer sausage, breakfast sausages. I bought breakfast sausages. I was going to use those round things that aren't cooked. But I'm actually going to just take the leftover lasagna that I rolled up and put in the freezer. I'm going to take them out. I'm going to roll them around. I'm going to fry the breakfast sausages. After I fry them, I'm going to wrap them up with the lasagna after it unthaws. Lay them out in a tray. Obviously, I'm tired. I think somebody called you. And I'm going to use tomato soup as a base with a little bit of ketchup because, you know, the bottle gets low and you just put water and shake it. And
are you hungry?
No, I'm okay. Just bring me my money and my card. Okay? And, so I'm going to make that. And, you know, I have to move shit downstairs, right? Oh yeah, I extended an olive branch to Tisha. In other words, I phoned her today. And when I got her on the phone, I said, I'm the first one to extend an olive branch to you. She goes, what does that mean? I said, well, it's kind of like asking to be friends again. It's a gift, right? So, you know, everybody calms down and you can patch up your differences. I said to her, I said, you know, you do realize it's hard for me to hear what you say, right? Considering, because, you know, I can't guarantee I'll even be able to see very well in a year from now, people. And then what? But I'm like, I don't know. I said, you know, I got to get downstairs, and your brother's bugging me to do this and to do that, and you know, and he wants me to get rid of the drums, and he thinks I should sell it, and I'm like, I'm thinking, and I'm like, no, I want to take him out onto the front yard, the bass drum, that is, not the bongo ones, but definitely the bass one, and set up, like, just put the drum out there when I'm working, because I have to work in the yard this year, people. I just got to get it over with and be done with it, and because the following year, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to see. Yeah. Like, I'm so disappointed in this eye doctor. You don't even know. So, I told her, I need to get into these crafts, and we can bag them up into little bags, and you know, people walk by because they come and they like to look at the rabbits and the cats and the raccoons, and they have little kids, and, you know, a couple with their little kid, an immigrant family from somewhere, I don't know where. Another man with a very heavy accent, with the wife not being able to speak English other than smile and nod her head. With this teeny weeny little girl that was about a year and a half or so, they were looking at the cats and blah, blah, blah. And then I said, well, there's rabbits over there. And then I said, you can go, see the rabbits. So he took his little girl to go see the rabbits. I came out with some carrots. And then he told me that he was living in these buildings over here down the road across from the subsidized housing, which doesn't, they don't have a playground, right? They're designing them out of these buildings. If they have any kind of playground, it's at the freaking top of the roof, right? So he says, I like to take her out for a walk because, we're cooped up inside these buildings, even though it's extremely expensive. Like, you're looking at $2,500 for like a two-bedroom, $3,000 for a two-bedroom freaking, I don't know what it is, that's like stack and pack, limited square footage. So they like to take her out and walk around. People like my yard because, especially in the spring and the summer when everything's green and the raccoons are running around, cats are running around, whatever, right? And rabbits hopping around. And I said, well, you come back, right? With your little girl, and that's fine. Like, I don't mind, right? Because, right? Especially in the spring, right? I don't know. And then I thought about it when I came in. And I'm like, no. Because I wanted to take that drum when I go do my bootleg New Nations Unity community celebration at the park. But my son's putting pressure on me to remove it out of the space that he wants. And I really have no place for it. But, I've got Alea May and Kyrie, and they should be allowed to bang on it. So I'm thinking to find a way to bring it upstairs, put it in the playroom, and then at least once a week, take it outside to the front when I'm working and keep it kind of near the road where people with their little children can come and they can bang, right? And I'll have little bags of craft material that, here you can take, or maybe a few to sell. I think I'll do both. There's those ones to sell, and here's one for your child. Like those little hats and stuff, right? I told Tisha I've got like 20 hats, not including what she took now. I don't need 20 children's freaking fire hats and whatever I got there. 10 maybe for the park, assuming that I even get to the park. event, the bootleg one at that. So, you know, take them out to the front. Either give one away or sell it for $2 or $3. Because I had all this pressure to get rid of my shit. And pretty soon I'm not even going to be able to see it. So what difference does it make? Right? I can't do the community stuff like I used to, but I can do it in my front yard. And if I'm going to do anything, I wanted to do that, but, you know, I get locked in. I get locked in with Mari, laundry, cleaning. I did the food prep, you know, I'm just whatever, right, people? I don't sleep well. Anyway, this year I do plan on being outside more. And, you know, as long as my kids help me once a week to get the stuff out, in terms of just, you know, like the good old days. And so I asked Tisha just to help me go through the bins where all the craft stuff is, and we'll bag them up into Ziploc bags and, you know, bring the kids by, and, you know, we'll hang out there for a day because I want to put the pond in this year. You know, there's things I want to do, be done with it. I want the vinyl laid out, and, you know, there's just things I want to do and be done with it. And after that, then we'll see where I'm at with my eyesight. If I can do it again the following year, something similar with the bass drum, then I'll keep it. But if I'm completely blind, I can't expect my kids to do a bootleg New Nations Unity community celebration in a park just because I asked them to, because they won't, people. They won't. That's when everything will really begin to fall apart. And if Tisha's leaving by that time, well, because I told her, like, you know, if you're leaving, I mean, like, you know, I mean, because we brought up the sewing, and she said, oh, I don't have time, you don't teach me, you didn't teach me. It's not like I didn't want to, people, I just didn't have the time. I lived in the yard for, you know, more than half my life of living in this house. I lived in the fucking yard, just so that there was a house, basically, and, but she can still learn, but I missed my opportunity. So anyway, I told her she needs to come downstairs into her room where, you know, a lot of the sewing stuff is, and the fabrics, and before she says no, she can't learn to sew, I said, well, you can do this and this, and when you go and you move to the island, I gave her a jazzy name for a company that she could do for herself out there on the island after she fooled around with it out here in terms of sewing, and she could sell to tourists. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. She can blame me for not teaching her how to sew when she wanted to learn, not acknowledging that I was busy, and that if I didn't do the things that I did in regards to the yard and running the house and... Huh?
Where can I put this? For Cassie to get it? Thanks.
What is that?
Burgers.
Oh, that does look good. Did you get my money?
No, I have to go back down and get it sold.
Oh, I think I do want some. Does he got it?
Yeah.
What is this?
What is?
Huh?
What is?
What?
What is?
You don't get more salad?
No, I have to go get mine.
Huh?
I have to go get some salad.
What?
I have to go get some. I want some.
Well, this is salad right here.
Yeah, but the salad that they have has carrots. I want some
What?
carrots. They have carrots in their salad, so I want to get some.
Okay, well, I'd like some too. And one hamburger.
You want a hamburger?
If he has it, does he have enough?
Here's what?
Huh?
Here's what?
Yeah, because tell him I'm gonna make him some tomorrow, something. Don't tell him what.
Where are we making tomorrow?
We're gonna do the sausages wrapped up with the tomato and...
I want you to know we're going to go for a walk tomorrow early. We're going to go early. We'll probably be back by 12. Maybe, I don't know.
That's fine.
So yeah. And also because I want to go for a walk.
Okay, well, bring me a bit of salad if they have it too. I don't like eating his food when I'm mad at him. I'm not mad at him anymore. We're talking. Because again,
You want some salad?
Yes, I do. I'm hungry and I don't have time. Tell him we're making something tomorrow and we'll give them a tray. A small tray. Can you bring up my, my glass dish if they're done with it? Yeah. But I already put the olive branch out to him too. You know, acknowledged I understand how he feels in terms of wanting more space. He let me talk for 20 minutes and then he got impatient. That's the part I don't like about it. Like, whatever, like, that's kind of like, what is that, being condescending? And then, you know, I don't want to get up. You're worried. It's like, whatever. Anyway. So, yeah, I told Tisha before, you know, start doing this, and this, she might want to take this opportunity and figure out a way to learn. And then when she leaves, I don't know, right? Anything could happen. Because I said, whatever I give you in this house basically means nothing at this point because you won't be taking it with you. Unless, of course, it's like, you know, some rhinestone jewelry I got or something that's small and glittery. But nothing else outside of using it for the moment, and then when she leaves it just ends up wherever, which doesn't make me feel good. But I would like her to sew a little bit, but again, I can't force her to do it any more than I could force her to freaking read a book. You didn't teach me how to read. No, you didn't want to. You were stubborn. You didn't teach me how to sew. I don't want to sew no more. It's too late now. Well, I don't know about that. Everything's here. Why would you be wasteful and just let it slip through your fingers? Especially if you could, quote unquote, develop a bit of a skill that you can take with you and cater to the tourist. When you're not making Kyrie, who is a thick little boy, pants that actually fit him properly. I don't know, people. I'm just getting tired with it all. Honestly, really I am. So I decided I'm going to talk to this. Is this thing even recording? I'm going to talk to this. Well, I'm going to phone the eye doctor and I'm going to let them know that I want the cataract lens changed. I need to check on Amari. He appears to be sleeping. Yeah, you need to change the cataract lens. He made it worse. And it's just getting worse and worse and worse. He can't expect me to use dollar store glasses to compensate for a inferior lens when dollar store glasses never really worked outside of maybe on the computer and only a certain kind at a certain point. Reading, like, and even then, with the loss of the octave nerves to the degree that I've lost it, it's very difficult because you see me switching these glasses on that you know, no, and then to sabotage my short-term vision by changing the cataract when I could see better with my original cataract in terms of clearness, just like here, except for if I needed to read something. You could see that in my videos, right? As soon as I started reading something, depending on what it was, how big the print, how far it was, you know, yeah, there was times I needed to use dollar store glasses, right? But outside of that, everything that I see now is blurry. And because of the light spectrum hindered, it's just bad. I look out my window though, and I can see long way away because that's the kind of lens that I got. But he sabotaged my short vision, expecting me to use dollar store glasses knowing that they wouldn't freaking work. Except for maybe, quote unquote, sometimes, and even then, it's a hit and miss. So he's not going to want to do it. He'll probably send me to somebody else that will argue with me as well. Because that's the kind of healthcare system that we have. And you have to remember, my medical files, wherever they go, are flagged. Because of, one, what's been happening to my family, and two, how I've reacted towards that. In terms of lawsuits and all this other crap. YouTube videos, whatever. Right? Tisha dropped off the information that I filled out ×3, myself, Amari, Andre, to a different clinic to try and get a different doctor as a family doctor 2 weeks ago. And I haven't heard anything back. He's Russian. Maybe he doesn't like the name Chorny, which means black in Ukrainian. Because he would know. He's Russian. So here I am trying to get a different fucking family doctor, and I ain't getting no phone call back. Kind of like that shit that was going on when I was trying to get a referral for my eyes. Wouldn't get a phone call back. Or if I did get a phone call back, I was told that they weren't taking patients. The doctor wasn't seeing patients. Weren't taking new patients. And that was assuming that I even got a fucking phone call back. And then what happened? I went blind. Well, it's the same thing, it seems to be. Just seems kind of weird. Because before I filled it out, they said that he was taking patients. Now, mind you, Tisha went on her holiday and the paperwork didn't get dropped off. But even still, they said that they'd get back to me. They're not even getting back to me. And when you phone them, they say, if you're looking for a doctor, come in with your care card. And they're the kind of doctors that it's not a drop-in clinic. You have to book an appointment. So there are doctors that are willing to take patients, but they're not calling me back. Why? Maybe because my fucking medical files are freaking flagged. As the eye specialist doesn't want to correct the mistake that he made. If I was a normal person with normal eyesight prior to what he did, then yeah, maybe I could see that because my neighbor over here had the same issue with these stupid dollar store glasses, so she ended up to go see some optometrist and got prescription glasses to compensate for the bullshit that happened when they changed the cataract. It's not like that for me, people. I can't do that because everything glares because of the lack of octave nerves. This one is practically blind. Anyway, I just don't know when I should phone because he's going to want to maybe do it too soon, and I'll be like, I can't. That's what happened last year. He did it in March. I couldn't go out in the yard. It took a long time, and even then, sometimes it still hurts. Right? Last thing I wanted to pop out a lens. Whatever, get dirt in my eye and whatever, right? So, he's going to want to book it, and that's assuming he'd even do it, and he's already told me he won't. Before he'd do it, he'd get me, send me off for a second opinion. And I'm like, whatever. So, as soon as I phone and say, no, I want it changed, that's the only reason I want to see him at this point, outside of maybe changing my medication, because the medication that he's got me on is making my eyesight worse, because they're over drying my eyes. You know, I'm allergic to this shit, right? I'm dizzy and this and that, and like, you know, and but if he can't change the lens, then what? You know, send me to somebody else that will. And then if they say no, second opinion, because birds of a feather flock together, you know, they got each other's back. Like, I'm fucking hooped. And then what? Go to the emergency? Start all over again? The process? Yeah, that's assuming I will even be able to find the emergency. In other words, feel my way there. As these guys are making good money off of you because they're booking in surgery, this, surgery, that. It's laser this, appointment, prescription, to go blinder and blinder and blinder and not give you what you want. And then say it's quality health care. Yeah, okay. If that was the case, you should have gave me the best lens from the get-go. You should have found a way. Oh, but the government doesn't pay for that. Yep. So when you have a problem with your heart and you're a poor person and you get nuts and bolts but not the full part to fix your heart, because that's all the government will pay for is nuts and bolts, don't be surprised if you don't fucking die. But that's okay, right? I'm sure they'll find good use for your body, because we know how that rolls in British Columbia, Canada. Okay, here's the stupidity of it all, people. I am putting myself last again. And I'm aware of it, right? In terms of, I have to work in the yard this year. Okay? I don't have a choice. Because when my landlady says, I let you stay, even though I'm being told I can get more money, don't have to do anything, just have to say to the neighbor over there who owns that house, or to the neighbor over there who owns that house, yeah, you can rent out what you want and just, swing me $3,500 a month and you take care of all the problems. It's either that or she'll get rid of me and she'll break it up into two and she'll get $4,500 or more because of everything that I've done in this yard when it comes to greenhouses, sheds, garden beds, whatever. Because, that's important, people. When they were put their house up for sale, they were advertising those things as amenities that were not here when I moved in. Okay. I let you stay. Doesn't matter what they say. As if she's like, because she's always wanting more money, right? I mean, what would she kick me out for? The yard? I mean, we've already been there, done that with, right? Whip on my back how many times over the years, people? Rain or shine. Hot or cold. Didn't matter. Right? I mean, what are they going to do? Beat me to death out there? Sometimes it felt like that. So much so, people, I never, I just was always in the yard. 10 hours, 12 hours a day. Five days a week. Sometimes 6. Sometimes it would go like that for months without a break. 1 year it went 10 months without a fucking break. Right? A 1 day break, that was it. It was like the slave on the plantation with the hallelujah on a Sunday. 1 day we'll be free. Yeah, free to be homeless. Basically. And if these landlords are doing this shit, it kind of tells you what they think about, I guess you could say, white people or black people. Unless, of course, you can pay. Right? Goes back to that. Right? I let you stay. What have I done wrong? my neighbor over here has been living in that house, which is a rental, for 20 years. And that landlord wants to do property development and tear down fucking 5, 6 houses in a row. Just hasn't done it yet. But he doesn't raise the rent on her. No. Is she paying back in the day like the old days? But she's got money, so, when it comes time for... she has a better chance of finding an affordable place because she's going to try and purchase it for herself. The only thing is when she puts the application, because she's elderly, right? When she puts the application in to purchase whatever it is that she's, like through co-op, that type of thing, right? With like I don't know about a trailer, but, just little, right? I mean, last time she did it, she did everything, and then they denied her dog. Right? So she can't even find housing. But that landlord's not raising the rent. And, he doesn't fucking gaslight her constantly. Like, I was saying to Lucy through, messages on one of the videos, I've been in this house 14 years, people. I have never, not once have I ever had a good dream in this house. I woke up several times crying in this house. I have never woke up crying so many times as I have in this house. And like, she did that before. I let you stay. Okay. So if you're not going to let me stay, what? You're going to kick me out because I don't want to pay whatever it is that you want from your next tenant? Because that would be the only reason you'd be kicking me out. I mean, sure, I suppose you could find something in the yard to get me out there working like a dog again with that whip on my back. And I'd go back out there and I'd fucking work and 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 work until I'd freaking drop people. Because I've done it. You see, that's the thing. I've done it. I went blind over this yard, people, because I put the yard first so that I'd have a place. I just didn't know that the yard was going to be used against me time after time after time for one reason or another. Not because I was a bad person or I didn't pay my rent on time. They just want more money. That's it. They live for the moment. Get as much as you can. And if you can't, then hold that person over a barrel and constantly remind them. I don't want to say that I owe my landlady a favor because I've already given up my life for her, people, without her fully realizing how much effort I put into her yard. So much so that I am going to forfeit on surgery of any kind. I don't care if it's the cataract lens, the rotor-rooter around here that this guy wants to do. I am going to forfeit those this year until fall, after spring is done with and summer is done with, so that I can finish up with the yard. And even then, it will never be enough, because I've had the city come and say it was too green. I'm like, too green? What are you talking about? Oh, you need to trim back the grapevines. You need to trim back this tree. Well, it wasn't even a tree, it was a little bush up by the pond that was giving the pond shelter. Like, not shelter, but shade. They were just looking for any excuse. So much so that one year, that was one year, it was too green, and I had to get out there and start degreening it by getting rid of the green things that were growing, wherever that was. Right? And I did it to the best of my ability. And then another year, they came in April. Yeah, and nothing was blooming yet. Everything was still gray, right? It was cold, right? It was still cold, so nothing was, no leaves on the trees, nothing, right? And the city came, and that's when, they were taking pictures of fucking bricks that had been there for years, all lined up as a border to cover up weeds and whatever else that I was dealing with back in those days. And you're taking a picture of a bricks. And I'm like, well, what are you doing? Oh, I'm taking pictures. I said, but you do realize, those are like ornamental bricks that are like, making a line, right? Right? Yeah, well, you need to do something with that wood. In terms of, he was taking pictures of the bricks that were in a line, saying it was too gray. And then he crossed over to where the pond was, where I have wood beams dug into the ground to give a border to hold the walkway in or whatever. He said it was too gray. I had to paint them. I had to do something with them. So that's when I went and got my black walnut ink from a jar that I had made a long time ago, and I just started painting everything to fucking add color in the middle of April. Well, first part of April, because it was too gray. So, like, that's being targeted, people. Okay? That's what that is. And, like, none of that, absolutely none of it was my responsibility. See, that's the thing. Right? Could you imagine me living in this house with half of the yard on that side in the front full of sand, with gravel rocks underneath the sand? So you have 3 layers of sand, 2 or 3 layers of gravel rocks, and then you have clay. Okay? That's what I moved into, not realizing what I had until I went out there, and I couldn't live like that, people. Cats were shitting in it, the raccoons were doing whatever they were doing. The morning glory weeds were growing like crazy, and the sand was coming in the house, and she wasn't doing anything with it. She had no intentions of doing anything with it. Don't forget, she owned this house since 1991. I moved in 2009. Right? So I didn't really have a choice, people, if I was going to live here with my family, considering basically, and I mean, and that's another thing, she's being really overprotective over Mr. Gill. She doesn't want me talking to Mr. Gill. I don't know why. She keeps it really short and sweet, and she's always rushing off with him. He wants to talk, and she, no, we gotta go, and it's because he actually cares, people. He actually cares. He's told me. He sat at the table with his family, his kids, and daughter and son-in-law or whatever, and cousins, and who knows, uncles, who knows, just 12 at the table, and he's the only one saying, no, don't kick out Judy, because they want more money. Well, my landlady says, I let you stay, when she knows that asking for the amount of rent that she's asking for me is not right. But then she justifies it by saying, no, it's easy enough to get rid of you because you don't pay enough rent, because those people will give me more rent. Those people will give me more rent. And if I rent it for myself, I'll even get more rent than what I would get from them. And I would do the same thing to that tenant like I did to you. I would expect them to do everything in the yard. They can fucking deal with it. And while they're at it, they can fix the porch. Wait till I show you the porch. I'll be fixing the porch this year, blind as a freaking bat. Arguing with my son to help me. I can't stand life anymore, people. I fucking can't stand life, and that's exactly why I've never had a good dream in this house, because it's been like this from the get-go. As soon as I moved in, I put first 15 days, 20 days. First 20 days, I was going back and forth with my car, bringing in wall units and stuff, placing them up against the walls, doing whatever, running my power cords, whatever I was doing, waiting for the, to bring in the big trucks, because I had like 3 trucks come in with me, right? I'm talking big ass truckloads, right? Because I had my whole family with me pretty much. And moved in after I moved the family in, and because I'm going in and out for 20 days, right? Like, I'm not using the water too much. I'm not using outlets and all this shit. But as soon as I moved in and everybody started using water and started plugging things into the walls, I'm telling you, every outlet in this house was sparking. Every single outlet. I had to move wall units that I had already unpacked away from the walls so that the electrician could come in and change outlet to outlet to outlet to outlet to outlet. Then I had to fight to get the basement ones done. Not fight, but argue, because, I did upstairs. Yeah, I know, but they're just as bad downstairs. Like, I shouldn't even have to say that, right? Like, I just don't get it, people. Like, this is what I mean, misery, and the fucking pipes were leaking, and she acting like it was my fault. And I'm like, they're dripping outside, they're dripping inside, they're dripping everywhere, right? And then spring came. And once I got in that yard, that was it. My life was over. My life was fucking over. Because it was do or die. You either do it or you die. But I'm dying anyway. You see, now I'm dying. And I'm like, if I don't do the yard this year, I have to finish it. But I can't do my eyes. Because that's what happened last year. I did my eyes. I couldn't really go out in the yard because I wasn't supposed to strain, bend over, none of that crap. And it's enough I was doing what I was doing in the inside. So I have to go out this year. And I'll probably, by the end of the year, be pretty much damn well blind. Yeah. Now, why is that? As I'm being told to throw out my fabric because I never got to sew in 12 years since I've lived here. Yeah, I was too busy in the fucking yard. As I'm being gaslighted. Still to this day. I don't get it. The only thing I can justify it with is, when people get old, they get stuck in their ways. Like, even my own grandmother was stuck in her ways. She didn't mean to be stuck in her ways, but she was. She never outgrew it. So, that's kind of how I see my landlady. That's how I make excuses for her. It's not her fault. She's old, she's stuck in her ways. Alright? It doesn't mean she's a bad person, it just means she's stuck in her ways. So anyway, so many times I just work and work and work and work and work, and I'd run out of. One time I got my eye drops and I couldn't use the bottle. I couldn't squeeze it. There was something wrong with the bottles. 2 of them. It was impossible. And that was around the time because it was generic. They gave me a generic one. At first I had the original kind, and then they gave me the generic kind. And when I told them I couldn't use it, I want the other ones back, they said I couldn't get it. And then I just got busy in the yard. So time ticked. Eventually I got back to the eye doctor. Just whatever, fell through the cracks. All the time. All the fucking time. And it's gonna happen again. Between my doctor not wanting to change the
Can you put this
lens,
on the stove, please, because I have to go use the bathroom.
not wanting to change the lens, but willing to book me in for something that's not going to make a difference. If anything, it's going to agitate it and make it worse, but he doesn't mind getting paid for that. No, 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 no. Right? To being told, I let you stay. Yeah, you let me stay. I know you let me stay. That's because there's nowhere else to go. And this is where the Punjabis and people like them, because they're not the only ones that own property, but they probably own 80%. $75%. They just have to wait for the airplanes to fly in with the preferred citizens now, with their subsidies and their sponsorships, and who are willing to stuff themselves into, I don't know what, like freaking sardines, hoping that one day they'll get rich too, but before they get rich, they're gonna have to be pretty fucking mean. Yeah. A lot of mean people in British Columbia, Canada.
The burgers are really good.